and voting in, whoops, sorry. Thanks, Lieutenant Mahoney. So this is Clerk Jeffries. Item B, roll call. We have all 4 members present and voting in civic clerk. And now we're on to item C, which is the election of the chair.
I'd like to nominate Alder Stevens for the chair.
Okay, so we have a nomination on the floor for Alder Stevens. Do we
Alder
have?
Morgan would like to second.
Okay. For a nomination, you don't need a second, Alder Morgan, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then would you just like to have a voice vote, or would you prefer to have some other type of vote?
I'm fine with voice. I don't know if
Okay, so all those, just give me 1 moment. All those in favor of Alder Stevens as Chair of Protection and Policy, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None. Okay, that is all 4 voted in favor of that, and that is passed. And now I will turn it over to Alder Stevens for the election of the vice chair.
Thank you, Celestine Jeffries. So I'll take nominations for vice chair. I'll do Randy Scannell. Anybody else? Okay, a motion to approve.
You don't need a motion, you can just vote.
Vote, yeah, sorry.
So all
Second
those
vote.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't let anybody down.
Okay,
I'm sure you won't, Randy. I'm sure you won't. All right, we can move on.
Alder Stevens, just feel free to, naturally go through the agenda. I can certainly keep up. Thank you.
Okay, if I go too fast, let me know.
I certainly will.
So the next item is approval of the agenda. I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve. Oh,
Oh,
second.
sorry. Can
No,
I
no.
make a motion to move 19 and 20 up behind 1? I just know there might be some discussion and people wanting to speak on it, so
Do I,
Um,
have
just need a, yeah, we just need a second for that.
do I have a second to move 19 and 20?
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
I would like to speak to it.
Sure, go ahead.
Just in general, when we have people speak for protection of policy, a lot of items go really, really quick. So, but there's people in the audience often waiting to see. So we usually try to get those done first. So really, when there's gonna be someone to speak on an item, it usually doesn't take us too long to get down to it. They're usually put on the bottom for a reason, so that we can quickly get through of everything in between. I noticed number 1 is usually an item that's usually down at the bottom, but as I understand it, legal thought that needed to be at the top this time. But in general, we try to put items that are going to take more time toward the bottom so we can fly through the other ones, and anybody here for those items can leave the meeting right away instead of having it hang around. So I unless there's a particular reason that, we'd want to have people hanging around, we should be able to get to those 2 items pretty quickly. I would rather leave them where they are. So I oppose the motion.
Jennifer, what would you like to do?
I mean, guess what are my options? I just know we have 20 items, which is kind of a big agenda for a committee meeting. And this has been a hot topic in our community. And like I said, there might be people that want to speak to it. I understand the rest we go through pretty quick, but I just don't see a point in making them wait an hour when this might be something that they're here for.
They shouldn't have to wait anywhere near an hour. It should be 10, 15 minutes. Of course, with the item number 1, might be a little bit longer, but I don't know how long that will go. But everything in between should go pretty lickety split.
Well, and there's a presentation and yeah, I guess I just don't see the harm in moving it up
Is there a presentation after or before?
before one.
Randy.
Would you take an amendment to move those up above the presentation?
We would need to ask Deputy Clerk, is the presentation because of the liquor license that we're dealing with tonight?
Oh, that, I see. Right off.
Yeah, and
the
I'm
bat.
fine keeping that first. I was just thinking that, again, these are probably the next hot topics to move them closer to up top, that's all.
Right.
Did we have a second on our motion?
Yep.
So should we just go for a vote and see if we can move it up or not? So, sure. All in favor of
Aye.
amending it?
Aye.
No.
No, yeah.
So it's 2 and 2.
So
So
it-
Joanne Bunkert, how do we handle this?
Yeah, that's just a motion failed.
Okay,
Essentially, it doesn't, yeah.
So that
So then you're
motion,
back to, yep, you're back to the regular motion to approve.
take a motion to approve.
motion to approve.
Do I have a
Second.
Okay, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay?
Aye.
Next item. So it'll be the approval of the minutes. So this was from the last P&P, correct? Which
Yes.
was a month ago.
Motion to
Mhm.
approve.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Passes. Okay, next is presentation by Deputy Clerk Fuji on liquor licensing.
Right, good afternoon. Thank you for giving me some time to speak about a topic of liquor licensing. So as far as the different types, and if you have any questions, please let me know. So as far as liquor licenses, there are two main types. We do have our Class A liquor licenses, which are kind of like our gas stations and liquor stores. This is where you take the liquor and take it away from the premise to be served. And then we also have the Class B liquor licenses. This is for on-premise consumption. And actually, I'm going to share my screen here. I'll keep it up. So these Class B liquor licenses are our bars and our restaurants. And in the city of Green Bay, in the state of Wisconsin, we do have a quota as to how many that we are allowed to do. For the city of Green Bay, we have 172 available liquor site licenses. And once we surpass that, we are eligible to take out reserve licenses. Now, those are ones that have slightly some limitations. There's a $10,000 issuance fee, as well as you can't surrender or transfer this license to another location. And as far as the accepting of the liquor licenses, there is a resolution that was included in the packet, just a procedural about what you can do to accept and approve liquor licenses, reasons why they can be denied versus or approved. License we do have is the Class C liquor license. This is not as common, but you find these in restaurants and is paired with a Class B beer. Now, kind of a introduction into what we do for liquor licenses. These are really vetted by the clerks and the law department and the police department prior to accepting. You can find all this information on our website. Many of this are standard procedures that you find through the state. But we, as a municipality, did put in place some special recommendations. For example, we have a statement of intent. We hope that any liquor license that we do grant they would be opening within 60 days of the license being granted by you as the council. And then in addition, we have a business security plan. This is something that was drafted by our police department, and the police department meets with an individual applicant to kind of go over some of the municipal requirements and just make sure that the liquor license that we're providing kind of meets with those requirements. And then also the outdoor premise. This is something where we do have outdoor areas that need a visual delineation between licensed and unlicensed areas. And this is a way for you to kind of get a picture of what exactly they are, kind of what their fencing requirements are. City ordinance does require a 6-foot impervious fence. So a lot of times you will hear that as the council that you are able to waive this requirement if 2/3 of you as council would approve. So when an application is filed, it does go through a lot of steps. When we get it, we notify the assessor's office, the Brown County Health Department, our inspections department, the police department, and then pretty much everyone. This is something that also gets published in the newspaper to let everyone know. So another thing we do is we do follow up with the liquor license applicant, just kind of letting them know and as a reminder of what the next steps are, which is we can't issue a liquor license approved by our building, plumbing, and electrical. They would want to reach out to the health department. They should expect a phone call from the police department to review that business security plan. They are required to attend a protection policy meeting. So many of the people are here today that are on your agenda. And then also it is something that is reviewed by Common Council as well. And then also we just kind of notify them as a reminder that we ask that they pick up their license within 60 days. There are some ways, if for some reason there's unforeseeable reasons why they can go back to you as a committee to request an extension. And then also we do offer provisional licenses, so they can definitely reach out to us in regards to how to get some of those different options that we have in our office. One key takeaway when you're looking at a liquor license application is that license premise, and that's why it's always highlighted within the liquor license agenda item. This is something that must be continuous. All items must be adjacent. We don't want a vague description. For example, a street address would be too vague. And once we grant that, that's something that we really can't take away. So it's something to take into great consideration. Also, we try to do that with any outdoor areas, that picture, because picture is definitely worth 1,000 words. And then also during renewal season, we make sure that we review every application to verify if there was any changes made. Other information, and this just refers to our Class B, our combination licenses, is that the city has set up some moratoriums within our area. And this is kind of a website to see where this happened. So you can just go on to open data on Green Bay. And then there are some different types of licenses. So one of them is the Fort Howard Charter Ordinance. This was established in the late 1800s, and this prevented any Class B combinations to be in the West Side. And it was recently drafted in 2004, where we did extend that, where we are allowed to issue a license as long as they are considered a restaurant. Other moratoriums that we have, they're by resolution. This would include our Broadway moratorium, downtown moratorium, Old Main moratorium. And those in particular, they are attached to the agenda for you to review, and it would be brought up if a location was in the moratorium. You do have a little more leniency to ignore the resolution should you choose to. Other things to consider, so that's kind of an overview of the new liquor licenses. Existing liquor licenses may also come to a protection and policy meeting. For example, the first meeting in May, the next one will be where all of the renewal liquor license will be coming to the meeting. In addition, when all renewal liquor licenses are expired, they are granted, but we do also have to make sure that they pass their inspections and that they are current on any of their delinquent or property taxes, or they do not owe any monies to the city. Other reasons why existing establishments can come in is they have a change of agent. That's just more of an administrative procedure and is reviewed by our police department and law department prior to going to committee and council. We have any change of licensed premises, also requires approval from inspections. A sidewalk cafe and parklet that would change their licensed premise. And then we also have a temporary of a licensed premise for a one-time special event, which we do have a few of those on. That is where the community, they're just having a one-time thing and they want to, their building is normally licensed, but they want to send it out to their parking lot for this one day. All right, and that's all I have to keep it brief. Is there any questions? Well, thank you all for your time.
All right, thank you, Deputy. Okay, now we're on to regular business, a little housekeeping before we go through these items. Everything that is discussed tonight, either approval or denial, is a recommendation to Common Council. The next comment will be May 3rd at 6 p.m. All right, item number 1, consideration with possible action on the appeal by Marlene Grant to the denial of her operator's license. Staff?
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. So staff's recommendation is to deny the appeal request, as the applicant is a convicted, has been convicted for offenses that substantially relate to the license activity and is a habitual law offender, and therefore would be precluded under state statutes.
Police Department?
The police concur with law.
Okay,
I
this
do believe
afternoon-
I believe the appellant is here, so if the committee would like to open the floor so that she can present any evidence or testimony that she wishes.
Motion, open the floor.
That
Second.
is,
All in
I
favor?
feel that, feel like, I mean, those crimes that was committed was years ago. Like how something that long ago is still being held against me.
Ms. Grant, one
I
vote.
did the society for what had happened.
Excuse me, Ms. Grant, it's not quite your time to speak. So if you just hold on one moment, the committee needs to open the floor so that you may speak. So just give them one moment. Thank you. I did not hear a second, Chair Stoyer. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Chair Stevens. I did not hear a second. I heard Randy motioned to open the floor. Who seconded it?
Jennifer Grant.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor, open the floor.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Grant, the floor is now open.
I really don't understand. Like, this is a whole job of mine that requires this. Crime that y'all holding this liquor license for me from, it just been years ago. I don't understand it. Like back in 2007. People don't deserve a second chance for crimes that they committed and move forward past in their life. So what am I, just quit my job and find something else that don't require a liquor license? I don't understand.
We're
Like,
looking at, I'm looking at a report now from 2002 to 2020. Can you explain to us what happened in year 2020, 2019, 2016, 2015, 2013?
26, it was traffic. Those was traffic misdemeanor petty traffic tickets. I went across a railroad track and didn't see the stop sign. Okay, I paid the ticket for that. But 2020, that didn't have nothing to do with me. I got in trouble for something somebody else said and the state just ran with it. The police department gave me a ticket for something that I did not do. This woman came to my house, but I ended up with a ticket.
For
I couldn't
disorderly conduct.
at work.
And that charge was disorderly conduct?
Yes. The woman from
also-
around came to my house intoxicated and lied to the police, told the police I had a knife and all this other crap. I had no weapons on me. I'm outside with no clothes on, literally naked in the snow because she want to start trouble from being intoxicated. Don't none of my charges have anything to do with drugs or alcohol. I've never been in trouble for none of that. And what went through in the past, I left in the past. I'm trying to move forward with my life. Every time I try to do something right, there's always something else. It's just like, I really don't understand. I don't. And I'm steady paying fines and tickets for something somebody else is doing because hearsay mess. I can't move forward with my life because of other people and other stuff that's stopping me, like petty stuff.
Alders, any questions for Ms. Grant?
No, no questions.
Alder Grant, Alder Morgan?
No, I'd like to know if Lieutenant Mahoney's on, what he would have in background and if any of that for us.
We should close the floor first if there's nothing more.
All right, I'll take a motion to close the floor.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, Lieutenant.
To answer your question, Alder Morgan, yeah, the background I was reviewing is the same one that the city attorney gets. And yes, there was a DC citation issued, and yes, there were traffic tickets. I don't have the actual report. I don't even know if it was the city of Green Bay that issued the DC or if it was another municipality. But I do know she pled no contest to that in 2020. And as she said, and I'm sure was in your packet, the other offenses were from the early to mid 2000s.
Do we have any other history of her involved in her owning a liquor license?
Not that we're aware of here in the city of Green Bay.
Thank you.
Dr. Stevens?
Alder Morgan, this appeal is for a operator's license as a bartender's license, or either to work as a bartender or to be able to be a licensed operator to sell at a Class A establishment. So it's not for a liquor license, but an operator's license.
Right.
We know, has she held one before?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Alder Scannell.
Thank you.
Okay, if I may explain a few things to our new alders and also to Ms. Grant there, that why this is brought forward like this. It's when someone's applying for a license and there's any felony, if they have a record with any felony, state statute says that we cannot grant them a license. That's why staff automatically denies it, but it comes forward because the way the statute is written is there is some wiggle room for us to grant the license. Because the way the statute is written, it says how the offenses relate to the application. So in this case, normally what we've looked at is if these are very old offenses, and really all we're interested in is the felonies, because that is what the state statute is concerned, brings up. That we say, my position has always been, if it's been a long time, then it no longer relates. And so I usually have no problem and will make a motion to grant her her license.
Thank you.
Just to clarify a little bit to what Alder Scannell provided, in addition to, yes, a felony conviction, it has to substantially relate, just disqualify someone from either holding a liquor license or an operator's license under Chapter 125. In addition, what staff does review is what the statute terms as a habitual law offender. So it could be for any number of other violations, but just basically a history of unlawful behavior and other offenses, whether they're municipal and non-criminal or criminal in nature, but or misdemeanors that don't necessarily rise to the felony, but the number of them and the history of them just poses a concern that the individual will be able to appropriately adhere to all the regulations and requirements that are necessary for someone who is a licensed operator to hold a liquor license. So that is the situation here. The applicant or the appellant is not a convicted felon, but however, just the history of the citations and the offenses and the convictions in totality just provide a basis that staff deemed her to be a habitual law offender. And then obviously she's presenting this appeal to provide her an opportunity to prove that she has rehabilitated and is fit for the license activity. But again, as Alder Scannell said, the committee can review all sorts of different types of evidence in addition to the testimony that she's presenting. They can also review any evidence of, completion of probation and parole, any character statements that employers can provide, if the appellant has gone through any, if charges are for alcohol or drug related offenses, any counseling treatments that they've completed. And in addition, time is also a factor. Obviously, offenses that occurred 10 years ago don't relate as substantially as something that occurred more recently. So those are all the elements that staff reviews, and that obviously is up to the discretion of the committee as well.
Yeah. One question.
Go for it.
I didn't get anything in the packet that listed, as Alder Stevens was reading, that listed all the offenses.
We did, right, yes, we emailed that this morning. We just didn't have enough time to get it in the packet in
understood.
time for publishing. Yes, so
Ah.
that's in your email.
I must have missed it in my email. Okay.
Yes, typically, we try and get it in your packet, and it will be listed as a confidential item, obviously, because it contains confidential information, but we just weren't able to get it turned around in time for the 9 a.m. publishing cutoff on Friday.
Fine. I
Okay,
missed it. So thanks.
Attorney Bongert?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Was there any letters of recommendation or anything? I don't see the packet for the end.
nothing was submitted, no.
Okay. Thank you. Alder Grant.
What options do we have to remove if we were to choose to issue? Like if something were to happen?
Sure. So if you were to approve her appeal and she would be granted her operator's license, it does come up for a yearly review. So if she were to have another offense, for example, for a felony that substantially relates, or any other kind of offense that substantially relates, staff would be able to move to revoke or to non-renew. However, revocation is an entirely different process. You have to, staff has to, typically our municipal prosecutor would have to draft a complaint and a summons, and there would be a quasi-judicial hearing, with evidence presented from both sides. It's a much more complex process. So that's why we always advise the committee that granting a license, you have a lot more discretion and a lot more leeway in deciding to grant. And it's a lot more difficult to take away once you've actually granted it to somebody to take it away. So you do have that opportunity. It just becomes a little bit more complex of a process.
And I apologize, when you brought up a witness or a character witness, so did she have that opportunity today to have one, or can we grant her time to present that, or that was her chance today?
That information was provided to her in the appeal letter. Basically, when an applicant for an operator license receives a denial letter from the police department, it lays out what the decision is, what the offenses are that the police department is taking into consideration, and then provides information on how to appeal that decision and what kind of evidence can be presented in order for the committee to review to determine, like I said, rehabilitation and fitness for the license activity. So that option was presented to her. Obviously, I'm not her attorney, so I can't advise her of that ahead of time. So I'm not sure if she had an opportunity to review that and was prepared, but it's certainly within the committee's discretion to potentially give her another hearing date if that's something that the committee wishes to do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question, so I would like to open the floor again to Ms. Grant.
Motion to open the floor.
Second.
I'm so sorry, Alder Stevens. I thought that Alder Scannell had made a motion to grant the license, and I don't believe I heard a second.
Did you say that, Alder?
I think I did. I'll withhold the motion for now.
Okay, thank you so much.
So motion, all in favor, opening the floor?
Aye.
Okay, we're good. Alder Grant, excuse me, Ms. Grant? Is she there?
She's muted. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, I asked her to unmute. There she is.
I'm sorry. If I was to submit,
Ms. Grant, I have a question for you first.
yes,
What establishment are you trying to get employed at, or are you currently employed there?
I work for True North Bay Beach, Shell gas station,
Okay.
cashier representative.
And how long have you been there?
Almost 2 years actually, off and on. Here the first time I was just in the kitchen, so now I'm cross-trained and I work the register as well. But it wouldn't make sense for me to work the register if I can't sell alcohol to the customers. And if I'm here until 10 o'clock at night alone, then I wouldn't be allowed to serve alcohol because I'm here by myself and there's no one else here with a that holds a liquor license.
Is your employer willing to vouch for you?
Yes, actually, one of my managers is still here.
If we could, we'd like to speak with them, so.
Okay. Gigi. Here's one of the managers. Her name is Giovanni.
Hi,
Hi, Alder Craig Stevens, how are you?
I'm
Um,
good. How are you?
Sure, before we start, for the record, could you state your name and your address for us, please?
Yep, Giovanna Leffler, and then my address is 1208 Doblin Street, Lower Unit, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54302.
Okay, thank you. So the question for you is, you probably are, which we assume you're probably aware, she's trying to get an operator's license. And
Yeah.
we were just talking with Miss Grant. So do you have any recommendations for us? How,
I would appreciate it if she got it back. It'd be a lot easier for her to pick up more shifts and more hours here. She's been having, it's been difficult for her to continue to work without those. But we've been making arrangements here to make sure she still can work in our kitchen. So
but you would like to move her out front to,
she's amazing up front. She's fast. The customers love her. So we would like to put her back up front.
any other questions, Alders?
I have one, sorry. You mentioned getting her license back. How long ago was that revoked?
Probationary.
Oh, she had the probationary things. So I'm not,
Sure. So Alder Grant, when they apply for a license, they're given a probationary one. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Ron? Yeah. Okay. I don't think we have any other questions, but thank you for your time.
not a problem. Thank you.
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
Alder Grant said second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I'll make the motion to, what would it be? Grant her
Will approve the appeal?
to, yes, grant the appeal.
Do I have a
Thank
Not
second?
appealing.
And do I have a second? I think Alder Morgan's trying
Alder
to
Morgan,
say.
you're muted.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
No. Nays? All, okay, it approved.
thanks.
So it'll go to common council next week for final approval.
Okay. So do I wait for an email or?
Yes, I think the clerk's office will reach out to you.
Okay,
Right, have a good evening.
you too. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. All right, on to item number 2, consideration with possible action on the change of agent at Walmart Stores East LP at 2440 West Mason Street. Law Department,
Double checking I'm not muted because that's always my my kryptonite. No objection.
Police Department.
Please concur.
Take a
Motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Number 3, consider as a possible action on the change of agent for Pablo Mexican Grill House LLC at 850, is it Keeler Drive, Suite C? Yeah,
Law department has no objection.
Police Department,
Please concur.
take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's approved. Number 4, consideration with possible action on a change of agent for Kroll's East Inc. at 1658 Main Street.
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant,
Please concur.
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Number 5, consideration with possible Wisconsin CVS Pharmacy LLC at 930 Main Street. Attorney,
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant,
Please concur.
Motion to approve.
Second. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Okay. Consider possible action on a change of agent for Oneida Tribe of Indians of 370 West Mason Street. Attorney,
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant,
Please concur.
motion,
To approve.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes. Consideration with possible action on a change of agent for Oneida Tribe of Indians of Wisconsin at 2597 West Mason Street. Attorney,
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant,
Please concur.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Consideration with possible action on a change of agent for Oneida Tribe of Indians of Wisconsin at 501 Packerland. Attorney,
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant,
Please concur.
all in
Motion to
favor?
approve.
I'll take a second. Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I forget, I can second. Consideration with possible action or request by Tux 2 LLC Blue Collar Bar and Grill at 1313 South Broadway Street to temporarily extend their license premise to the parking lot on May 22nd, 2022, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for the band reunion of Big Mouth and Big Power Tool horns. Attorney,
Yes, law department has no objections. We just do want to defer to the police department as to their review of the fencing and other security parameters that they have in place.
Lieutenant? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Attorney Bungard's curse is rubbing off. After reviewing it, the police have no objection, especially with the time being from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We don't anticipate it being any issue with late at night or loud music disrupting the neighborhood. So the police are okay with granting this.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Number 10, consideration with possible action on a request by Pearly Gates Bar and Grill to temporarily extend their license premise to their east parking lot on Saturday, July 9th, 2022 for the 17th annual Outdoor Pearly Gates Veterans Charity Benefit. Attorney,
Yes, law department has no objections. We just wanted to just to confirm for the applicant on the record that their request for their noise ordinance variance can't be granted by the committee. That's just instead the method for that, or the process for that, is to obtain a permit directly from the chief of police per our ordinance. They included that as part of their request to committee. So I just wanted to make sure that they were clear on what that process was. And then secondly, they also had a request to shut down part of a public right of way. That request also needs to go directly to Department of Public Works, as it may require a special event permit. I'm not entirely sure, depending on the parameters of their event. But the only thing that the committee is considering today is just the temporary expansion of their licensed premises to their parking lot, to which law department doesn't have any objection, but also defer to the police department for their input.
Lieutenant?
They've held this event, like they said, quite a few times in the past. There's never been any issues. I know it is quite popular. There are a lot of vehicles out there. In terms of their noise variance, yeah, I know the ordinance says they need a permit from the PD. Pretty much if he emails myself, as the chief or his designee, it kind of gets handed down. If he emails myself, I'll pretty much grant it and then let all of our officers know for that evening that there would be the variance. And as Attorney Bungard said, with the traffic issue, to please contact DPW and reference if they need a special permit for that, or if they anticipate any traffic direction. Lieutenant Mike Sobiak is our lieutenant in charge of special events here. They could contact him and set all that up. But we have no objection to this event. It's been a very well-run event in the past.
Motion to approve, and thank you very much. It is a great event.
And I think the owner normally attends our meeting for this, so I don't know if he's here or not. No? Okay, I'll take a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That,
Hello, can you hear me now?
oh.
This is Mike Sutton. I'm speaking for,
Motion to open the floor.
Yeah, hold on. Mike.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I apologize. My name is Mike Sutton. I'm on the Veterans Committee. Jeff Von Farrick had a knee replacement last week, so he's kind of laid up a little bit. So I'm listening in, trying to get information for him. It sounds like I have to tell him that he needs to get some noise permits and traffic permits. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, just have them reach out. I'm Lieutenant Steve Mahoney. Have them reach out to me. And with the noise variance, if he's asking for the road to shut down, that does go through a Department of Public Works. But if he reaches out to me, I can make sure to put him in touch with the correct people.
I will make sure he hears that. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, well, the floor is now closed. Number 11, consideration of possible action.
Did we vote to?
Oh,
Yeah.
did we vote? I thought, no.
I
Make a
thought
motion.
so. Clerk Jeffries, was there a recorded vote to approve?
No, there was not.
Okay,
Okay, I'll take a
never
motion.
mind.
Motion to approve.
No, the motion was already made, I think. We just need to vote, correct?
So I have a motion to approve, but I don't have a first and a second. So go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and make that motion?
Good point.
So,
Motion to approve.
Yes, please.
okay, second.
Second or whatever.
No, you
Oh, I
already
need a
made the
second.
motion, so I'll second it.
Okay. I thought we were still on yours. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Now where we're, okay. Consideration of possible action on a request to extend the licensed premise to the parking lot of 1351 Cedar Street, Napoli's Lounge on Saturday, July 9th, 2020 for the purpose of a special event.
Law Department has no objection. Again, we do defer to Police Department for their input.
Lieutenant,
The police have no objection. They ran a very nice event last year. Just want to remind them, I believe part of their application, they were talking about maybe having alcohol out in the street or something to that effect. That once again, if they want that, they need to get the special event permit. If they were looking to shut down the street at all, but in terms of in their parking lot, we have no objection.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. I see he's here, so thank you. Next one is consideration of possible action, a request by Barney's LLC, Black Saddle Tavern and Oasis at 201 North Washington Street to permanently change their license premise to include side B on the first floor of the building. New license description, 2850 square feet, selling space, first floor, 220 square feet, storage space and back. Yeah,
Yes, law department has no objections.
police department,
The police department has no objections either.
I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Good.
That was second by Alder Morgan, correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Number 13, consideration of possible action request by Dual Sports Bar LLC at 1114 Main Street to change their license premise to outdoor patio restroom green space.
Yes, so based on, I do want to defer to the police department as to their input. Staff recommendation will be to deny based on those concerns. However, in addition, there are concerns with respect to the outdoor patio. Based on the forms and the pictures submitted, it's unclear as to where that patio is going to be located. It appears that patrons would need to have to cross over what looks like to be an alley or a fire lane. And we don't have any indication as to whether that's part of the parcel or if they have a lease for that parcel to be able to occupy it. As Deputy Clerk Fugie indicated, a licensed premise has to be continuous. So you can't cross into a space that's not yours. You can't cross into right of way. You can't cross into unlicensed spaces. Beyond that, they do have a proposed fence. It won't be 6 feet and impervious. So for that to proceed, you just need a waiver. So if the item was to be approved, it has to be approved with council waiving the requirements for an outdoor premise. For council has to waive those requirements that are set forth under the ordinance. But beyond those logistical issues, I'll defer to Lieutenant Mahoney as to the other safety concerns.
Okay, the PD recommends denial of this. We've had quite a few issues and problems at Dual Sports Bar. To give you just a brief history, in the past year, we've had 197 calls to that establishment. Oh, I'm sorry, 147, 24 disturbances. A lot of them are for over serving, fighting. Just in the recent months, when we were there with the State Department of Revenue, the ATF, they didn't have licensed bartenders. So we've had to shut them down. I believe alcohol might have been seized that wasn't there. Just overall, there's been a lot of issues. I do know that also the owner of the building is also against this. There was a hole put in the wall. I'm not with inspections, but I do know that they put a hole in the wall last year without proper permitting. And they had to shut that down. So there actually is a hole in the wall that they never even got permission through either our inspections, pulling the proper permits. We're just afraid with the summer months coming up with the problems that we had last year. We're trying to reduce the crime, the violent crime and the gun violence. And we believe a lot of the issues do stem from this establishment. And if the outdoor garden was granted, it would just make it a lot worse. I do, if you alders want to talk, I do have one of our neighborhood response team, one of our new officers. He's also free to answer any questions if you guys have in reference this establishment.
I'm also with Dual Sports Bar. You guys
Sir,
can hear me?
sir, the floor is not open. I keep muting you. Please keep muted until the floor is open and then you can
Okay.
speak.
All right, thank you. Any questions, alders? Take that as a no. Okay, so does the community policing officer want to chime in?
Yeah, just over the past year, as our lieutenant said, we've had 147 police calls. From my count, reviewing the reports that we've pulled, we've had 2 people in possessions of firearms, and then a third call where a round was believed to have been discharged in the parking lot after a large disturbance. Part of my job on the neighborhood response team is to get familiar with people that either have been or are likely to be involved in gun violence or violent crime. And I can tell you from driving by the establishment, checking license plates, that I recognize quite a few people that patronize that establishment.
Okay, I have a question. With this many calls, has there been a property referral yet?
I don't know if they've been doing property referrals. I know that crime analysts have been keeping an eye and keeping a log. Like I said, we have it in front of us. I can't specifically say if they've been doing property referrals on every report that's been pulled.
I asked because I thought this is a rental situation.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yes, it is a rental situation. I do know there's civil action on both sides between Dual Sports and the owner of the building. I believe there's evictions and other things that are in the works, but it's a civil action between the 2 of them. So the owner is very much aware of what's been going on. We have been working with them. It's just since it's tied up in civil court, that we're kind of at a standstill on that.
Any questions, alders, for the police department? I see there is a representative here. Do we want to open the floor for any questions?
Motion to open the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. All right, floor is now open. Alders, looks like Mike is here, so if you have any questions for him.
Well, if he's got anything to say, I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Correct.
You're muted, you're muted.
Oh, hello.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so yeah, hi, this is Mike with Dual. I'd like to just go back to the first lady that spoke as
Excuse me,
far as
Mr.
this.
Kane,
Oh,
Mr. Kane,
wait,
you have to state your address, please, for the committee.
3308 Sitka Street, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54311.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, so going back to the first lady that spoke regarding the alleyway, we had put in all the paperwork to have that alleyway abandoned, and it was actually and it actually got put through. So that property is now one continuous property. So that's no longer an issue with easements or anything like that. So that's no longer a problem. And also the fence itself is 6 feet tall. And that's noted on the plan that was submitted to the clerk's office.
Okay. Any other comments for the committee?
I have several comments as far as the police department goes. Should I say those now?
Yeah, now's your time to speak.
Oh, okay, so as far as the police department goes, absolutely zero of those problems happened inside our establishment. We share a block with 4 other bars, and we're basically a victim of that neighborhood. We put it to a building that's been closed down for 15 years. I mean, we didn't put that much money into a building to have any problems, and we're, like I said, we're a victim of that neighborhood. So, and as far as the unlicensed bartender, that we didn't get shut down. The ATF did not confiscate anything. The fine that was given to the bartender that didn't have a license was because his license was actually suspended because he had an unpaid ticket. So he was licensed, but he was unaware that if you have an unpaid ticket with the city, that your license, your bartending license gets suspended. So they did not shut us down 10 minutes. And as far as confiscating alcohol, we never confiscate any alcohol. And we work diligently with the police department. We do everything they ask of us. We have 19 cameras on premise. We supply camera footage for everything that happens there. And all I ever ask from the police department is, if they have a problem with anything that happens by us, come in and let us know who these people are so we can put them on our ban list. They did that for maybe a month. Lieutenant Allen showed up a couple times and handed us a piece of paper and said, these guys are the problem. Don't let them in. Immediately got put on a ban list. That was almost a year ago. They have not been back to the building since to work with us, to tell us who the problems are. So we intend on taking the lot for the patio and making it beautiful. If you have a copy of the plan in front of you, you'll see it's a great plan. And I mean, and as far as anything else goes, the civil thing with the landlords, that's over with. Okay, that's no longer an issue. Putting a hole in the building, that's also not correct, especially without a permit. There was a window there, which was in place of a door that used to be there. The window was broken and the door was rotten. So we simply just cleaned it up. So, I mean, that's kind of all we have. You know, most importantly though, we work with the police department, and I'm almost taken back here that their opinion of us is so low, considering that we do everything. We invite them in. We out of the 147 calls that they've gotten, we probably made them 147 times ourselves. So I mean, we are diligent when it comes to calling the police. I mean, we hire little bouncers. We don't even have big tough guys. We hire little guys, and their number one rule is, anything happens, you call the police, and that's what we do. So out of those 147 calls, I'm sure they can tell you that 95% of them were initiated by us. So, like I said, we're a victim of the neighborhood, plain and simple. And our aldermen probably can tell you that. And we're doing the best to clean that up. That's gonna be a beautiful place, like unbelievably nice. And Green Bay needs that. So that to deny this would be, I mean, going against everything that the city should stand for. And I guess that's all I really got to say. I'd like to hear what the police department has to say in regards to what I just said, though, before anybody makes any decisions.
Mike, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So when was the last date you guys had contact with the Green Bay Police Department?
About 15 minutes ago. So today.
What was that regarding?
A detective had called me and asked me for our ban list from a certain date. He's looking for an individual that was involved in something that happened back on the 13th of March, I think.
Okay, so you're dealing with something in the past. Currently.
Correct.
Anything of recent that is new?
I can tell you honestly, there's probably police calls to that 1100 block of Main Street every single day. But like I said, we share that block with 4 other buildings, four other bars.
Okay.
And we don't have any stupid drink specials. I mean, people, when they come by us, they pay for their drinks. I know an establishment nearby, they have all you can drink specials, which I didn't even think was even allowed anymore. And so as far as over serving goes, I bet you out of the 147 calls that were to that address, were probably for the building next door, because we have nothing but problems. I mean, and even the strip club is a problem. Across the street's a problem. I mean, so out of the 4 bars that are on that block, we're probably the second nicest bar, with the exception of the strip club, as far as how, construction wise. And we intend to continue that outside to the patio. I mean, $350,000 is a lot of money to put in a building that's sat empty for 15 years. And I think we did a good job building it. But like I said, it's a work in progress. We're trying to get rid of the problems. We have a ban list with 200 people on it. We even share our ban list with the bar next door and the bar across the street. I mean, it's just that you kick 2 guys out, 3 guys show up the next day. You know, like I said, we're a victim of the neighborhood. But a patio isn't going to change that, isn't going to make that any worse. And I think it's only going to make it better. I think the exposure, you know, is going to be more, you know, it's going to be easier to see what's going on. So, I mean, and like I said, it's not going to be a rinky dink patio like you see in some of these bars around town. It's going to be beautiful and it's going to be, it's amazing. And it's going to be expensive.
Okay, thank you. Alders, any questions for Mike?
Yeah, I have one. I did hear from the owner, property owner, and he did say he was against this. And you said everything's been resolved. Could you tell us
Well,
what resolutions? I don't know.
Right, they've been trying to kick us out since 2 months after we opened. The owner of the property is also the owner of the strip club, and my opinion of him isn't very high. If you ask me, he's a crook. I mean, we put $350,000 into a building. He owes me $35,000, and he tries to kick us out because we're too competitive to the strip club, or we're too clubby. He thought we were going to be. He said we claimed we were a joint. So, if you ask me, I think the guy's a liar, and if anything's a problem in this city, it's that strip club. And that's a fact. I mean, you don't get reports of drugs and raping, like none. And like I stated earlier, out of the 147 police calls to the 1100 block of Main Street, 0 of those calls were inside the building. 0. And the police department could probably tell you that when they get a call, it's the 1100 block of Main Street. The address at 1100 block of Main Street is a strip club. And I'm almost embarrassed for the police department how vague they were in their description of the police calls. Because they know as well as I do that there were not 147 calls to that specific building. Which almost makes me feel like I mean, I don't know. I hate to think that about anybody, but I think there's deception on their part.
Yeah, I have no other questions.
Are the other 2 alders any questions?
I'd like to ask the officers something again.
Okay, before we do that. All right, Mike, thank you for your time. I'll make a motion, accept a motion to close the floor.
Well, is the property owner on? I don't see him. So, okay, a motion to close the floor.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, floor is now closed. Okay, go ahead, Alder Morgan.
I believe you said something about there were calls there during reports of weapons being discharged. Were you able to pinpoint where these weapons were being discharged? Did you have casings or anything that would pinpoint it towards the Dual bar?
It was in the parking lot of Dual. We were unable to find a casing, but the gentleman who was punched in the face reported a gunshot going off just prior to being punched. And we were unable to locate the suspect in that, to my knowledge at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question to the police department?
Yes, Alder Grant.
Mike mentioned that a lot of the trouble is outside and that he's a victim to the neighborhood. So I guess, is there concern with having a crowd of people outside that you're kind of putting people in harm's way of outside, violence that's happening?
It's not necessarily the people outside. As Mr. Kane said, I don't believe we were deceptive to him. I was vague in the calls. If you like, I could get very specific. All of the calls that I refer to were at the address of 1114 Main Street. It was not the 1100 block of Main Street. In terms of people being outside, our concern as the police department is there's that many more people there that could be overserved, which has happened at his establishment, or there could be more issues because more people are in that area or outside. Yes, when you're outside, if there's other cars driving by, that they might have an argument or a beef with, yes, it could put more people in jeopardy or danger. And also in terms of the calls not being in there, one of the times that Lieutenant Allen and myself met with Mr. Kane, their philosophy was get them out of the bar and then give us a call. And I'll be honest, at that point, it seemed like once they're out of the bar, he doesn't believe that they're their problem, which is not true. We want partnerships with everyone. We did try and reach out to the owner of the building. He could not make it. So I guess to answer the civil things, we reached out to the owner and he couldn't make it. We are just concerned that if this is granted, it is going to cause a lot more issues on Main Street. He has his opinion. I don't believe they're a victim of the neighborhood. We actually believe they're one of the problems in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, maybe clarification, trying to rack my brain where this is located. Now I know. Excess is next to it.
Correct. It's
So-
just east of Excess.
Okay, yep. So the parking lot that's behind those buildings, don't they belong to the Presidential Club?
Yes.
Or are we
the-
talking about the parking lot across the street?
Is the parking lot behind is fenced off and belongs to Oval Office. There are people that pull into that parking lot and do go, there is a back door to Dual Sports where they will go in the back door where they'll be parked in there, but then go in the back door. They're normally parked down on the farther east side of the parking lot and they'll go in there. But yes, we do get people.
So that
from-
parking lot's only accessed by Presidential and Dual, not Excess.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you for.
Sorry. I apologize, Alder. I accidentally muted you instead of me.
Sure. No, thank you for clarifying that. So because I was eerie, I know that area a little bit, so I was kind of curious, so. So would the best bet, I guess, Lieutenant, would be for them to close that gate off to that back parking lot?
The issue is that if they close the gate, then the owner, like the Oval Office would lose out their parking. I don't know the logistics or how to close where no one from that back parking lot could get into Dual Sports into that establishment. I don't know if that would be possible where even if Dual locked that back door, I believe that people would still find a way to get in through the back entrance to Dual Sports, even if that was secured and locked off.
Okay. All right, thank you. Alder Scannell.
I am the alder for the area, and when I first heard about the business going in there, I was very hopeful, and I know they have put a lot of money into it and everything, and I was really taken back when I heard from the property owner and from the police and everything, the issues there. I'm hoping that they can somehow turn this around with the police. As I said, the police will work with an establishment. So, and they think they have that report, but they obviously don't. The police wouldn't be reporting otherwise. So I'm hoping that they can buckle down, start working with the police and see to work things out. But for now, I'm going to make a motion to deny the request. Hopefully, they can get things turned around and come back for us. I know they put a lot of money into the establishment. I know there was a lot of hope for that establishment. I still have some hope for it. I don't know how the civil suit worked out between the property owner and how the property owner is feeling. I know the property owner has been trying to evict them. I don't know where all that status is, but for right now, there are just too many variables up in the air and too many forces aligned against them that I can't ignore that for now. They have some work to do to mend some fences with the police and the property owner to make sure that everybody's on board to, bring them success. Right now, that doesn't sound like that's happening. So I make a motion to deny.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, attorney, do you want attorney?
Yes, I just wanted just for the denial purposes, my recommendation would be, 1 second, I'm just pulling up that cheat sheet that I sent everybody with the, with the bases for denial, that the, motion would be to denied, based on, the inability of the police to provide law enforcement services to the balance of the community, and adverse impact on the peace, quiet, and cleanliness of the neighborhood where their establishment is located.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's my motion.
That's my job.
I second that motion.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. So off to the next. Number 14, right? Yeah. Consideration with possible action on an application for a Class A liquor and Class A beer license for local LC at 112 North Washington Street with a licensed premise described as 1247 square feet room, bathroom, storage behind curtain. Attorney?
Law department has no objection.
Lieutenant?
The police concur.
Take a
Motion to approve. Oh, second.
All right. Alder Grant, Alder Scannell, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Consideration on an application for a Class A liquor and Class A beer license for Chicago, excuse me, Fuzzy LLC at 1016 Lime Kiln Road with the licensed premise described as behind countertop checkout area coolers. Attorney?
Yes, law department has no objections. We did just want to note for the record, perhaps the applicant, licensee will be able to confirm there wasn't a lease agreement included in the application packet. The security plan states that the premises are being leased, and as part of the review, we just need to ensure that the person has control over the premises either through ownership or through a lease. So just wanted to alert the committee to that.
Okay, Lieutenant?
The police have no objection, concur with law in terms of this license.
Okay. Is the,
Attorney Barca, if you could just repeat what you said at first, I couldn't hear what you were saying at first. Was there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
just want to
sorry.
make sure I didn't miss something.
Yes, so the application, the law department doesn't have any objections. We just wanted to indicate for the record that there wasn't a lease agreement in the packet submitted by the applicant. I don't know if it was accidentally left out. We just wanted to confirm that the premises were leased, as that's a control over the premises is a requirement either through a lease or through ownership. So we just wanted to confirm. I'm not sure if the applicant is here or not.
is the applicant
Is the
here?
applicant here?
Yes, I'm here.
Motion, open the floor.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the floor is now open. So, Mr. Johnson, did you understand the questions that were brought forward to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you answer those for us?
Yes,
Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Mr.
wait,
Johnson.
hold on. I need your name and your address.
Thank you.
I'm
Sure.
sorry. 1645 Juniper Drive, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 54302.
All right, thank you. All right, if you could answer the questions that were brought forward.
Yes, I believe I put the lease agreement in there. There is a lease agreement, and I could provide it whenever you guys, ever I can do it. I can grab it for you guys, no problem.
There was a second question, correct?
Was it a second question? I don't know.
I didn't have any other questions. I just wanted to
Okay.
confirm that there was a lease. That's all.
All right. Mr. Johnson,
Motion
Thank
to
you.
close the floor.
I'll take a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. All right, floor is now closed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Okay, consideration with possible action on an application for a Class A liquor and Class A beer license for Neil Beverages LLC at 2030 University Avenue with the license premise description as behind the counter shelves back office, currently licensed as Pit Row Inc. Attorney.
Yes, law department has no objections. Same situation. There is no lease agreement in the packet for the committee, so just wanted to have it stated for the record that the premises are in fact being leased.
Lieutenant,
Please concur with law.
and if I'm not mistaken, I thought this property was being sold.
That I'm not aware of.
It's in
The
my
security
district.
plan states that the premises are being leased.
Okay, it's being leased. Okay, I was told it was being sold. Okay, so is the applicant available? Maybe not.
I'll make a motion to approve, pending that they have proof of the lease.
I'll second. I'll second that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. So Joanne, you'll reach out to them?
The clerk's office will.
I
Yep.
mean, yep, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, number 17, consideration with possible action on application for an available Class B combination license for Cole J. is it Duncan at 126 South Broadway Avenue with a license premise description as 1,700 square foot restaurant and bar, prep room, 2 bathrooms, and mop electrical storage room. Attorney.
Yes, law department has no objections. Do just want to note for the record that the establishment is in the Broadway moratorium area section. However, it meets an exception as it will be a restaurant.
Lieutenant.
The police have no objection either.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that passes. Okay, number 18, consideration with possible action on the release of the 2021-2022 Class B combination license for LCS LLC at 1583 Main Street to the pool of available licenses due to a voluntary surrender. Attorney.
Law department has no objections.
So Lieutenant, same.
Please concur.
All right, take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so number 19, report on modems in City of Green Bay election tabulators. We're doing DS 200 and DS 450. I will, Clerk Jeffries.
Yes, thank you, Chair Stevens. So in your packets, which I did make confidential due to some of the information I provided, there are 2 emails and 1 photograph. One email is from ES&S verifying that the DS450 model never had modems. The other email is also from ES&S verifying that the one machine that we did have that had a modem, that modem had since been removed and was actually removed quite some time ago, a couple of years ago. Furthermore, myself, County Clerk Patrick Moynihan, Deputy Clerk Justin Schmidt, and I believe his titles also Deputy Clerk Julio Garcia, went to our secure facility where we store the vast majority of our DS200s and examined each one of them to ensure that none of them had modem. You have in your packet shows one of those machines that does not have a modem where it should. We do have some machines at City Hall, some DS200s at City Hall. Again, none of those have modems. They've all been examined. So just to reiterate, the DS450 is a model tabulator that does not have modems. That is not part of the model design. The DS200 could have a modem. None of ours do, as verified both by ES&S for that one model, then also by the county clerk and his staff and myself and Deputy Clerk Fugi. And that's it.
Alders, any questions?
Motion to receive and place on file.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Alder Grant raised her hand.
Sorry, if I have questions, do we ask that now, or if I want a motion to open the floor as well, is there?
Okay,
Does it
so
go
if you
in-
have questions directed towards Clerk Jeffries, you would ask that now. Before we
Okay.
open the floor.
And I apologize, Clerk Jeffries, it was kind of cutting out a little bit. So you're saying we only use those modems, is that correct?
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, you cut out there too. What did you say? Please repeat that.
Yep, so the two modems you listed, those are the only two types of modems we use?
So those aren't modems, those are tabulator types. There's DS200, DS450, and there's also a DS850, I believe. So the city of Green Bay has the vast majority of our tabulators are DS200s. Those are the most durable and portable machines. The DS450 is a higher speed tabulator, which remains at City Hall. Those are the only two types that we use. None of those have modems.
Okay, but I'm sorry, you mentioned DS850, where is that used?
We don't have that. I was saying that that's an example of a model of a DS, an ES&S machine, which has the title DS. We do not have an 850. We have mostly DS200s and two DS450s.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other Alders? Alder Morgan?
Yeah, looking at this, it does say that we show you have a modem in use, but it is in a DS200. Is there a reason we have to have that modem in use at all?
Are you looking at the email that I sent?
Yeah.
Right, so it says that there is no modem. Let me just pull that up myself. Just give me a moment. Since I'm doing the meeting managing, I didn't have that window open. So just give me a moment, Alder.
What I'm really looking at, I think, is one that was sent to you,
Yes, from ES&S.
right? From Mark Keen.
Yes.
And in there, it says no DS450s use modems, no central count of any kind use modems. The next sentence is, we show you do have a modem in use, but it is in a DS200.
Right, and then, excuse me,
I have thanks, but nothing else.
oh, here it is. Okay, so it says, the first email says, during a recent service call, had opportunity to review the DS200 unit. The field service technician confirmed during that service visit that there was not a modem installed in the DS200 containing that serial number. And so the second email refers to the first DS200. So the technician did observe in that particular model, which was reported to have had a modem, that in fact there is no modem.
Okay. What is he talking about on March 8th? It says we show you do have a modem in use.
Yes, he's talking about the modem that in the serial number ending in 0175, which is
Okay.
referred to in the first email.
So, but we do have other serial numbered machines that do have modems then?
No, we do not. So we have 30 some odd machines, all of which have been examined, including that particular machine was examined by the ES&S technician. The other machines were examined by myself, the county clerk, his staff, to observe that there are no modems inside any of the machines. And that is the accompanying picture that you have.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the alders?
We can open the floor too.
All right, no other questions from the alders. Alder Grant, you made a motion to open the floor.
Yes, motion to open the floor.
Do I have
I'll
a second?
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. The floor is now open.
So Polly Razor, 49 Green Bay 54302.
Welcome.
Hi. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to, Alder Stevens, I'm just trying to understand. So we do or do not have a current modem in the DS200 that they spoke about in whatever letter Alder Morgan was reading.
To clarify what Clerk Jeffries stated, there it seems there is not.
Okay, so it was just recently removed.
Clerk, can you answer that?
Thank you, Alder Stevens. Chair Stevens, I think it's appropriate for the members of the public to ask their questions. And then once you close the floor, if you'd like to ask me the questions, I think that is the appropriate way for this to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so my question would be when was that modem removed? And where had that voting machine been used in the last several elections? And then she had, Clerk Jeffries had mentioned that when she mentioned there was a modem removed several years ago, I'm not sure if she's referring, it doesn't sound like she was referring to this machine. I guess I'm wondering, when she says a couple years ago, does she have a date? And was that only one machine? So I guess those are my questions for now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else from the public? If there is, just state your name and your address.
Motion to close the floor.
Take a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. The floor is now closed. Any discussion? Questions for staff?
Just-
Oh,
You-
hold on. Alder Burnett raised his hand.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I do have a question, and as I was listening to Clerk Jeffries explain, if she could clarify, though, in the document that Alder Morgan highlighted, it very clearly says we show you do have a modem in use, but it is a DS200. So I guess the question to Clerk Jeffries is that DS200 still in operation?
Thank you, Alder Burnett. So Alder Morgan read the second email first. So the second email came earlier than the first email. The second email shows that we did have a DS200 that had a modem in use. The second email refers to an inspection of that particular DS200. There was only one that was listed that had a modem. That was a list that I had inherited. So I had the ES&S technician who services all of our machines, including the DS450, come and inspect that modem. He had said that he removed that modem quite some time ago. That was also the recollection of the county staff, because truly the DS200s belong to the county, the DS450s belong to us. So that was a recollection that had been removed quite some time ago. Precisely when, I would have to find out from that, but currently there are no DS200s with any modems, including the one referred to in the email from ES&S, which was confirmed by their own technician, that there is no modem in that particular model, that particular serial, that particular machine with that particular serial number.
Okay, thank you. I do see the chain of emails, and I think what might have led to the confusion is that the most recent email did not have a date or who it was sent by. So if you could just, prior to the council meeting, include that in the agenda, because the date in which the person responded, Mr. Mark Hain, I think that that would clear up a lot of confusion, because you sent that email on March 8th. I should say he sent it on March 8th. And it's just the timing just seems a little off, and I think it could be a little more clear in the email chain. So if you could include that at the council meeting, I would appreciate it.
Certainly.
I need a clarify. So all I am looking at right now, email from this company? There's no other emails?
That is correct.
Okay,
There
so,
are 2 emails and a picture.
so when this Mark sent an email, did you contact them by email or by telephone? What I'm getting at,
I can't recall, but I certainly asked him for an email as opposed to a verbal confirmation.
okay, because it looks like we had a modem, but then they come back and they say that there isn't a modem. So I think
Right, so,
seems like there's a section missing. I think that's what
yeah, no.
I understand, but
So no, I would say that on an equipment list of all the DS200s that we have, which have accompanying serial numbers, on an original list I had received from ES&S last year, actually, there was one DS200 which they believed had a modem. When I inquired with the county, probably at this point, 4 or 5 months ago, what their knowledge was of modems being present in the DS200s. Their response was, well, there aren't any modems in the DS200s. So just realizing that there needed to be a little more clarity, I had contacted, and I can't recall if I had phoned or if I emailed ES&S to ask that first question about DS450, never had modem. And then he offered that, well, you do have a DS200 that has a modem inside. So in order to verify that there aren't currently any modems, as I had said, I had the technician come, and he comes regularly to service our machines, and he verified that there is no modem. Additionally, before that technician looked at that particular model, we had, as I had said, myself and the county clerk staff, who's been fabulous, went to our secure facility to inspect all the DS200s, to open them up to see if any of them had modems, and none of them do.
and you said did I hear you right?
Yes, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, my reception's not the best right now for some reason. Did you say that the county helped you inspect that or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, they did. Okay. I think.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
I did have another question, but you kind of answered you asked some of the questions I had, but Clerk Jeffries, when did that inspection take place? What date?
That was, I'd have to look back. I believe that was after the primary this spring, but I'd
Okay.
have to look back in my calendar.
All right, so I'm just trying to understand. So the March 8th email indicated that there was one modem in use, but it used a DS200. So then you explained that, you explained that to the gentleman, and then he sends another email indicating what you just indicated. But I guess the question is, from March 8th until we received that second email, which isn't dated, is it possible, or is it true that that machine was still in service without receiving this email for the April 5th election?
No, it was not. That would not be possible because that machine was not utilized at any of the wards for April 5th. It actually was downstairs in our vault
It was not being used at all,
April
or
5th.
did it have?
for April 5th.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Again, I just reiterate, if you could just give us the date that email, that would clear up a lot of confusion.
Certainly. I also want to just offer to the protection policy that modems need to have places to plug into in order to receive Wi-Fi service. And many of our wonderful community partners do not have facilities, do not have Wi-Fi that would be available to us. So not only do our machines not have modems, but also our ability to connect would be severely limited.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, but I think one of the issues we had from the November election was that the central count facility, Spitzer Rubenstein, claimed to have wanted a hidden network. So that is true, but our technical capabilities to connect to the internet could still be done through a Wi-Fi connection. Is that true, Clerk Jeffries?
Thank you so much, Alder Burnett. Remembering that the DS450 has no modem capabilities. And that was the machine that we used at Central Count in November.
Right. No, I'm just saying, my point was that there are more ways to connect to the internet than through a hardwired connection. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Not, I will entertain a motion to
Motion to receive and place on file.
a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion to receive and place on file has been granted. Number 20, staff report on accepting outside/grant money from elections and for the possibility of an ordinance to be created. Referred from the March 15th, 2020 council meeting. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to refer this to Assistant City Attorney Matt.
Attorney Mather.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out my webcam for a second there. Good evening, everyone. I sent out on Friday a memo on this subject. It is attorney-client privileged, so I'm not going to go into depth about the analysis that's in there. However, I will, I'm obviously happy to entertain any questions that anybody has. It is the law department's conclusion or opinion that because the state legislature has preempted election law generally and is attempting to do so with respect to funding specifically, that we don't have the authority to pass an ordinance of this effect because our home rule authority is preempted. So happy to entertain any questions.
Alders, any questions? Alder Burnett.
Thank you, Chairman. I do have a question regarding the attorney-client privilege. Now, for newer members, Attorney Mather, if you could explain that we as a council retain that privilege, that we could waive that, or they could make a motion to make that a public document. Is that correct?
Not here at the committee level. Because the city is the law department's client, Common Council does have the authority to waive attorney-client privilege. It has to be done just as with any other action of the Common Council. It has to be done by a majority vote. Only do it, and in general, and in this instance in particular, the law department's advice is not to waive privilege, because once you do so, you waive privilege for all the foreseeable, not even the foreseeable future, just for eternity. And with respect to the entire issue that's being discussed. And so waiver of privilege is pretty serious, and we always advise against it, particularly when there are other things to consider, such as whether there may be pending litigation or anything.
In this particular situation, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, we're basically allowing for the public to review the legal reasoning that your office came forward with for us to deny any ordinance to block outside money from interfering in local elections. What's the worst thing that could happen in this situation?
My primary concerns would be the impact that it could have on ongoing litigation that we are involved in. This issue is still being raised in several of the different actions that the city is a party to, including some of the appeal of the decision in the city's favor from the Wisconsin Elections Commission concerning the use of such funds. And in general, whenever we have advice that has the potential to affect ongoing litigation, we especially want to maintain privilege because we don't want to, by having you as a council waive privilege, we don't want that to bleed into any other aspect of the ongoing litigation, and therefore compromise the city or expose us to liability.
We're not though. What we're saying is for further future elections, we're denying the ability to accept outside funds. I don't understand how that would affect the ongoing complaints whatsoever.
Point of order, since we can't do it here at committee, all this is mute. We're just spinning wheels here. This should be taken up at council. We can't waive the privilege here, even if we decide to do it. We can't do it here. So this is a discussion for council.
Another point, if I could just chime in really quickly, in addition, I think a point that Attorney Mather said is that when waiving privilege, you can't waive it specifically for one issue. You're waiving it entirely for potentially tangential issues. And with waiving privilege, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how it could potentially impact. And that unknown is what the risk is. And as attorneys, obviously we have ethical considerations and ethical obligations, and we can't, in good conscience, allow our client, the city, to put itself in a position where we don't know how it's going to be affected in the future. And again, you can't waive privilege for one particular question. You would be waiving privilege for a much broader scope of which we cannot tell you exactly what the parameters and boundaries are going to be. So it's big.
Yeah, and Chairman Stevens, I believe this is connected. I guess my frustration is we have a document that we cannot disclose to the public because the public is wondering why we cannot act on a proposal other than the very brief comments that Attorney Mather indicated. One last question. This is not my committee, so I don't want to hog the time here, but Attorney Mather, did one of the three law firms that the city is retaining assist you when you created this opinion?
No. This was my research, and obviously in discussions with Attorney Bungert.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, Alder Burnett, what the opinion that Attorney Mather did share today, that is disclosable. It's been made on the record that the opinion of the city attorney is that an ordinance wouldn't be able to be enacted because it's basically preempted by state statutes. What we're not able to disclose is her attorney-client privilege work product. So it's her research, her opinion, her advice on behalf of the city attorney's office and on behalf of the law department, being shared with the client, with the city of Green Bay as a whole. So the recommendation of the law department is on the record. It's essentially her analysis and her research and her legal reasoning that communication, the basis of how we reached that opinion, that is what is exempt from disclosure.
You said today, but I think she sent that on Friday, unless she sent something to the committee members. which I'm not
No,
aware of.
I'm sorry,
That's
with
right.
what she stated today at the committee.
Okay.
That's all on the record.
Okay.
What is
Fair enough.
actually not able to be disclosed is the content of her analysis and her research.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you, attorney. Any other questions? If not, I will. take a
Motion to receive and place on file.
And do I have a second? Second. I'll do a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Is it the other two I didn't? Alder Grant, Alder
You're
Morgan?
muted, Mr. Morgan. Alder,
I voted yes for placing on file.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Nay.
Nay, okay, so that's 3-1. All right, next informational liquor violation and police reports. So we will go to the lieutenant.
From March 7th through April 25th, there's been no DA referrals, no ordinance violations, rent warnings. And we did have 2 property referrals. One, I guess to answer the question before, was at 1114 Main Street for dual sports, as there was a multi-person fight in front of the establishment where parties were arrested and jailed for a high blood alcohol content. And also for Main Street OT's Bar and Grill, quite a large disturbance there. So that's our liquor report. And for the new alders, if you hear stuff that's going on, we pretty much give the report from the last meeting up till now. So that if you hear about something that happened in the past or something that just happened, like say yesterday, it would not be on this report. It would probably be on the next report after the next meeting.
Any questions? If not, I will take a motion to receive and place on file.
motion to receive and place on file.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Last item, I think, is adjournment. I'll take a
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned.
This was fun. Let's do it again sometime.
Hey, I'll get better at this. Don't worry.
You did fine.
Very good.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. So.
Everybody did great. Big hug, group hug.